What's the problem with wheat, which we thought was so glorious and good for us?
Well, I think the most important thing to know, Ted, is that what we're being sold today is not wheat. It is something that has been changed by the efforts of geneticists, genetic research, and agribusiness. So if we had the plant in front of us, we would see that it is no longer this 4.5-foot tall plant that we all remember when we were kids. It is an 18-inch to 24-inch tall, high-yield, semi-dwarf strain created essentially in a laboratory. Now, created for good purpose. It wasn't evil purpose. It was created to increase yield to help feed the world's hungry. And it was a huge success from that standpoint. If we just view the value of this product from the standpoint of yield, it was an incredible success. It earned the Nobel Peace Prize for its inventor in 1970. But if you change the outward appearance of something rather dramatically and often use bizarre and extreme techniques, you might inadvertently introduce all sorts of unique new characteristics. That's exactly what has happened.
Can we get pure wheat that our great-grandparents ate that was likely better for them, certainly better for them, if not good for them? Can we find that anymore?
You can. It's logistically, it's practically difficult because very few farmers wish to suffer the downturn in their revenues and yield, because this modern strain of wheat, Ted, yields about tenfold more per acre than, say, the wheat of 1960. So it's a very difficult proposition for a farmer today to compete in that environment. I would argue also that while wheat of today is by far, hands down, the worst possible thing you could eat, older wheat is much better, but it's not necessarily entirely benign. You can still have diabetes, celiac disease, and other health problems in 1960. It's just gotten much, much worse.
So they changed its outward appearance to make more of it to feed the world. As you say, the intentions were not nefarious, they were well-intentioned. What did they do in terms that a pea brain like mine can understand? What did they do to that wheat that made it so lethal for us? And is lethal the right word?
I think lethal is an excellent word because that is indeed true. That is literally true for many people. This is a deadly poison for many people. Some people can eat it with only limited deleterious effects, but many people who don't know why they've eaten well, they exercise, do all the right things, yet still have autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, still have diabetes, can't control weight, have migraine headaches, PMS, depression, bipolar illness, paranoia, anxiety. In other words, a whole long list. You don't understand why, and you don't understand the association until you get rid of the cause, which is modern high-yield semi-dwarf wheat. So this thing has adverse effects at so many levels that people will not appreciate till you remove it. What was the original question?
Well, what did they do to it? And we're getting to that. We're getting to that. What, like I say, in simplest terms, what did they do when they turned it from tall grass to an 18-inch semi-dwarf? As a consumer, I go, so what? What happened there?
So many proteins were changed. Not all the changes have been mapped out. There's a basic difficulty or fault in genetics research in agribusiness, and that is if you change a plant, we're going to assume if it kind of looks like wheat, kind of smells like wheat, and yields a flour similar to what we had before, it must be appropriate for human consumption. No questions asked, no testing required, no USDA or FDA official required to ask any questions. And so among the changes introduced was a transformation of the gliadin protein. So there's a protein in all wheat called gliadin, but the gliadin of today is several amino acids different than the gliadin of 1960. Let me tell you why that's important. Well, this gliadin binds to the opiate receptors of the human brain. It doesn't make us high, it doesn't provide relief like morphine, another opiate, it only causes appetite stimulation. So anybody who's exposed to the gliadin opiate of modern wheat is stimulated to consume on average 400 more calories per day, 365 days per year, which is a lot of calories. And those calories you're provoked to consume are not going to be from steak or from lamb chops. It's going to be from junk carbohydrates. It's going to be from more bagels, cookies, pasta, cake, junk. The kinds of foods that make us gain weight. So that's one of the most important changes introduced in the modern wheat.